Hello. Okay, I suppose the thing that I can share with you is, well, somebody pointed out to me over there that I've gotten a little gray, which is true. I came out in the Midwest in 1975 when I was 17 in high school, and there was no GSA. That really wasn't a popular thing to do. And so I guess the best I can say is I have a long, long history in this fight. And as I was talking to somebody at our booth, that's very saddening to me that, 30-some years later, I'm still fighting for equality. I'm fighting for it now as a parent. I'm fighting for it now as a grandparent. And it's something that every generation just has to keep picking up, and we have to keep working together to keep going forward. So as I stare out at all of this is amazing to me. I could have never imagined this when I came out in high school, that there would be a day when college campuses would have diversity day and people would show up and support each other, and there would be so much love in the air and hugs. And with everything that we deal with all the anger and the despair and the frustrations and the sadness and the pain, to come to an event like this and to see this on a college campus, to me is just, it's a great feeling. And it's not to say we're without struggles, but it's amazing to see such community, and to see places like Straight Advocates for Equality, which I could never imagine, or PFLAG. I remember the first time I marched on Washington in 1978. The first time that PFLAG came around the corner, and there were hundreds of thousands of people there. It was the most awesome moment. That's when everybody in the crowd just kind of gasped, because there were the people that didn't have to be there. There were the people that were supporting us that didn't have to. And it was powerful, and to this day it's still powerful, and that's why I'm really happy to have PFLAG as one of the benefactors of our concert. I remember the day that Harvey Milk was assassinated. Not only in California was that a powerful moment, not only was it an angry moment there, but it traveled across the country. Unfortunately, I saw that feeling again when America was shaken on November 4th when Prop 8 passed in California. I know my friends across the country were shocked. That could never happen in California, but it did. And I think it was a huge wake-up call for lots of people who had been sitting by the sidelines, thinking that those of us that had been doing all of the work for all of the years, we could just pull this off, and that California is the liberal state and it would just happen. But the reality is homophobia is alive and well. Heterosexism, as Jerry referred to earlier, is alive and well, and it has been for years and years. I remember Anita Bryant, and I remember watching the faces of people being devastated, just devastated by what was happening. And I have to share a story with you that happened at that time that was culturally pretty funny. At that time with Anita Bryant, many of you may not even know, but she was a sponsor for Florida orange juice. And so, so she was, big with the oranges and everything. So every drag queen for about 2 years would perform a song that she was also familiar with, that's singing, that was called I'm Sorry. So they would dress up like an orange, and they would all perform her song, I'm Sorry, just to kind of poke fun at the issue. So I guess you have to keep a sense of humor through all this. We've been up and we've been down, but hang in there. Change is coming. It has been, little by little. We're chiseling a pretty big, huge monster here. Discrimination is never easy. We saw that through the civil rights movements. I watched the civil rights movement as a young kid, and I could never understand it then, and I still can't understand it. The same signs, the same wording, the same posters, the same biblical arguments were present in the 60s that are today against LGBT plus communities. But as they did then, we will prevail. When that day will be, I can't tell you. I wish it was yesterday. But we all have to hang in there together. We have to help each other through the sadness, and we have to be there when it's happy. I loved celebrating in the Tower on May 15th when the Supreme Court gave us marriage. I marched when they took it away. So I guess the best message is to stay together. In 2004, I was on the Marriage Equality Caravan that traveled across the United States, from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. to take a message to the White House that we wanted marriage equality. Lots of people in our community didn't support it because it was prior to an election, and they thought it would cost us the election. And lots of people still think it cost the election, that we should have stayed quiet. But that wasn't the time. There is no time to stay quiet when your civil rights are being taken away. But one of the things that I learned on that bus, there were 45 activists from all over the world, very powerful, very passionate, very dedicated, long-term activists. And the thing that each of us had to take away from that event and that we learned about each other is every person has their own voice. Every person has their own message. This fight, I talk to people who are transgender and their issue isn't necessarily specific to my issue, but we relate. I talk to people who are parents and their issue isn't necessarily my message, but we relate. I think we need to listen to each other and hear our messages, and everyone out here needs to find your voice in this movement. Find your voice and shout it from the top of your lungs. Thank you.